Hi, it's Laura at Aquamarine18 Tarot and Books. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. Welcome or welcome back. This is my recap of September 2024. I am filming about a week into October. I intend to put this up pretty quickly, so I'm actually probably filming on the day that this is appearing on YouTube. I have been very busy, and yet in making my brief notes in terms of what I would like to talk about in this recap, I feel like in some ways I have fewer things than usual, since I usually structure these recaps around the new decks that have come into my collection, if any, the books that I've read, check in with my tarot and oracle to explore / wish list and other kind of different things like that. I feel like I don't have as much to say because I haven't gotten to read as much in September. I have one new deck to share, which I'm very excited about, and I want to talk about some ideas for YouTube, I guess. I have just been so swamped with work this month, as well as with some other things going on outside of work, but mostly it's been work. It's a busy time. It is always a busy time going into the colder months at my job. And on top of that usual kind of expected increase in busyness, increase in demand for service, there has also been a few kind of annual or one-off events related to work. So that has been additional on top of the usual workload. And I have a major project that I'm working on that I will be working on from now until December that is taking a really significant amount of time, and my other kind of usual duties that I have in my role all the time are not kind of letting up to make space for that. So it has been a really busy time. In terms of general life updates, I did make the difficult decision this past month, September, that I would be giving up my second job. I have had 2 jobs for the entirety of the 2 years that I've been working at my full-time job, and I've had more than 2 jobs before that, teaching as a sessional, teaching different single course contracts. So I will, for the first time in the recent past anyway, only have one job, one full-time job, and not a bunch of other things. So I'm feeling excited about having a little bit more time for myself. I'm also feeling a little bit emotional because I've been at this second job for a long time and I really love the people that I work with, and we've accomplished a lot together. And, it's not like I'm moving or anything. I'll see these folks whether I'm at the job or not, but it feels like a bit of an end of an era in a lot of ways. That second job is also related to the university that I had been teaching at, and the fact that I'm leaving this second job is also in some ways the end of my ties to the university and to kind of academia more generally, at least in any formal way. And that has been strangely, maybe not strangely, it's probably not strangely emotional that I would feel emotional about that. It has just been something. So I will continue on in that second job until the end of October, at which point I will be passing my role to someone else, hopefully. If not, it will be vacant for a little while and then filled later. Either way, I know that things will be fine. I was really heartened by my coworker's response when I had indicated that I feel like it was time to move on. Just really encouraging taking care of myself and, doing what's right for me, as much as I will be missed. So I feel good about that, but it's a lot. It's also a lot in the context of, I have mentioned previously, I believe, that I've had to replace my car. So I am picking up my car that I have purchased tomorrow, which is October 7th. So I'm filming this on October 6th. I'm picking up the car on October 7th, and I've been, of course, dealing with the logistics of moving from one car to another, rehoming my current car, which is the only car that I've ever owned, that I've owned since 2010, and it was a used car then. So I've had one car. My parents have adopted my car, which is great and will work out really well for them, I think. So I've had to meet up with them, out of town. There's just been a lot. My city had their Pride, their Pride parade, which we're probably the only place that has the Pride in September, and it's because it's a university and college town, and the numbers are just bigger if they don't have it in the summer when most people have Pride Month. So that was a busy weekend. It's just like lots and lots going on. And yeah, it's been hard to sit down and film. And it's been hard to sit down and film because I haven't been feeling it, honestly. I feel like I've had not as much time to myself as I normally would want, that I would want. And when I have had time to myself, I've wanted to spend that at my tarot table, or just relaxing with my partner, or going for hikes, or, visiting with a friend, or, reading books, all the things that I love doing. And this has kind of meant that YouTube has gotten not very much attention. I've kept up with my monthly recaps and TBRs, but I think everything else I posted in September was things that I had pre-filmed before and just hadn't uploaded yet. So I feel a little bit out of practice. I've been feeling a little bit uninspired, honestly. Not uninspired by tarot, not uninspired by books or druidry or any of the other things that I talk about on this channel, but kind of uninspired by YouTube as a concept, maybe. I've been enjoying other folks' content. I just haven't felt much fire for wanting to come up with things for myself to share. I've been more inclined to just spending time in my own practice, and some of that, I don't know if it's a bit of the season, as the leaves are changing and I'm watching the squirrels get ready and all of the animals get ready, that I'm feeling a little bit inward turning in certain ways. I also feel like my relationship with technology has become more fraught than it has been previously, and that's contributing to that as well. But I don't have any plans to delete everything. I don't have any plans to vanish or anything like that. But I just haven't been super excited about filming lately, and I don't want to film and put things up that I don't feel good about, or that I feel like I've just made for the sake of making something that I don't feel is of interest, or that I don't feel happy to share. So we'll see. I have been thinking of some ideas, and getting my 2025 planners in has inspired some enthusiasm for planning, and so that is starting to maybe shift things a little bit, and I'll talk about some forthcoming YouTube ideas at the end of this video. How about that? So, moving on from general life ramble, I got one new deck in September, and it's one that was on my wish list. And the reason that I purchased it when I did is because my partner and I went for a hike up in kind of almost up to Haliburton Highlands area, not quite that far, north of us in Ontario. And we stopped at this great tarot shop called Mystical Paths. And it's right off a highway, this rural highway. And they have all kinds of tarot decks, tons of mass market stuff, some out of print decks as well. It's where I found my Tarot of the Silicon Dawn, totally unexpectedly. They have tons of books. They're also a goat rescue, which is amazing. Like, it's just a great place to visit. So I went there. It's like, oh, we have to stop there. We're vaguely close to it. We have to go to Mystical Paths. So we did. And I browsed around, and my partner's nudging me, like, we could be here all day. And they had one deck that I had been thinking about, and so since it was there, I decided to pick it up, and that is the Sufi Tarot by Ida Hussein. This deck my friend recommended to me, and she said that it was her favorite at the time, and she was really enjoying working with it, and she thought I would enjoy working with it. And it wasn't one that was on my radar at all before that. And this particular friend has I will say, a very good skill for recommendations. She has recommended me authors before, and they've become favorites. Like, she just is good at anticipating what I will like for whatever reason. She picks good things. She recommends things that I end up really liking. So I am very happy with this. I want to pick up some books to learn more. I want to read Rumi in particular, but this is a very readable Smith-Waite based deck. It does have some the major arcana titles are translated, but it is very Smith-Waite and very nice to work with. I think I will probably make a deep dive video about this, but I want to do some reading first. I've been enjoying the guidebook a lot. It has mostly been a one card draw deck, though I did do a deck interview spread with this, and it was a really potent one. I think the artwork is really pretty. It's really colorful. And the guidebook is quite thick, and it has some different contemplations for each card. It has some keywords upright and reversed. It has, something that I really want decks like this to do. It has detailed explanation of the choice in symbolism and what's being included. Some of the cards depict different Quranic stories, for example, or different references, and I'm glad that is detailed so well. And there are some nice conversations with the creator of this deck on YouTube that I've been watching as well. Really pretty. I'm wondering if this might end up being a kind of contemplation focused deck for me, more so than a kind of deck that I would turn to have readings about making decisions and things like that. It feels very self-loving and a very loving deck. It feels like it's been a really nice one to just draw one card and read the contemplations and then kind of free write. It has some suggestions of how to work with it, and one of those suggestions is in a kind of one card way. So she talks about, there's a 5-point star spread, so it's six cards, one in the middle. But then it suggests asking, having a question in your mind and picking one card, and then asking follow-up questions with a single card if wanted. And then the other suggestion is a 3-card reading for guidance for the mind, guidance for the body, and guidance for the soul. And so I've been using it in the ways that it is suggested, and I've been really enjoying it. So my superstar recommender friend who knows who she is, thank you, because this was not on my radar at all, and I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy. So that's my new deck. Books. I only read 5 books in September. 2 of them were long though, so that's why. It's the fewest books, like the fewest number of titles that I've read in a month so far this year. It's 5, but there are 5 thought-provoking ones. So I read Parable of the Talents by Octavia Butler. Of course, the sequel to Parable of the Sower. One of my 2024 kind of resolutions or intentions was to reread this series. And so I have now accomplished that. Reading this book now is something. It includes the election of a president who uses "Make America Great Again" as a slogan. And this was written in the 90s. And it grapples with some things that are some very real challenges in the world right now. I found on the reread that I was very captivated by the Book of Earthseed itself, the main character Lauren Olamina's writings. This Book of Earthseed is a kind of a new path, spiritual path. I think I may want to extract all of those and spend some more time with them. This is, I mean, what can you even say? It's Octavia E. Butler. It's incredible. Difficult to read in this time, but also difficult to read in this time in a way that is indicative of this book's importance at this time. So that was a reread for me. I also read Jalgren by Samuel Delany. This is one of those long books, 800 pages, the longest book by page count that I have read in the whole year. And it is a kind of dystopian fiction. It is very dense. It is very, I would say, theoretical in a number of ways. I understand that it took Samuel Delany quite a number of years to write this. And he is doing a lot of interesting things in terms of just like these little deliberate things. There's a reference to himself in the book at one point. He's certainly elaborating a lot of ideas as well about gender and about sexuality and race and racism and oppression and power dynamics and all kinds of things. It is a book that I think a lot of folks give it either 5 stars or 1, depending on the reaction. And I think it is a literary accomplishment. It is also really challenging to read, and not challenging to read necessarily in terms of difficult, though it is that in some ways. It's also very difficult to read in terms of the content, like the level of content warnings that this book warrants is substantial. It's simultaneously one that I'm glad that I've read and thought about and experienced, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for Samuel Delany for many reasons. He's written so much. It's also a book that I would really struggle to suggest because the content is so challenging. I would just say tread carefully. If this is a book that the synopsis interests you, read the content warnings and about some of the reasons that people have found this challenging. It's the kind of book I think that if you're looking into it, you don't really need to be too worried about spoilers, insofar as I don't really think that it's a very plot-driven book in a lot of ways. Knowing some of what happens in the book or what happens later in the book in terms of particular incidents or acts that are depicted in the book, that is not going to spoiler anything that suspense is built up around. We'll say that. So it's a complicated one to talk about. I feel like I want to read some secondary source analysis on this book, actually. The last novel that I read was Lone Women by Victor LaValle. I read this as Three Girls Chose It for Three Girls, One Book, which I really hope you all keep doing if any of you are watching. I love the Three Girls, One Book, to no one's surprise. And I would have loved to participate in the live chat for Lone Women. It fell on a day that there was absolutely no way that I could be there. I was not home. And I was not near a computer. There was just no way that I could attend. So I missed that. I'm looking forward to rewatching the live discussion of Lone Women because I'm really curious what folks thought about it. I liked so much about Lone Women. This is the second book by Victor LaValle that I've read. I really liked the other one as well. And the name of that one escapes me. I'll put it up here somewhere. The name of that other book by Victor LaValle that I liked, but it's definitely getting in towards spooky season, and so Lone Women felt like a really good choice. It totally could have been a Black-a-ween pick for me for this month, for October, but now I read it in September. That's okay. I really, really liked it. I thought that the character development was so well done. I think Victor LaValle writes really interesting, complex, nuanced women. And I wish there were more male authors writing right now that I could really say that about, that it's something that they do very consistently. There's not that many that I would say that about, but Victor LaValle is definitely one of them. I really liked the character work in this so much. And I really liked the ways in which the setting contributed to the horrors of the book, the expansiveness of this territory, with so much space between houses and, cold weather creeping in, and, just the challenges of being in that space lent so much atmosphere to the book. So I really liked Lone Women a lot. For nonfiction, I read two nonfiction. I read Blood and Mistletoe by Ronald Hutton. This is Ronald Hutton's book about the history of Druids. And Ronald Hutton is an academic historian. I believe he might have been raised pagan of some variety. He has written books. He's written a book on witchcraft as well. He has another book on Druids, but it's shorter than this one. This is the more thorough, encapsulating his research on Druids. And I really like and respect Ronald Hutton's work. This is less a history of Druids than it is about the concept of Druid and the idea of Druids and the ways in which different people in particularly England, Ireland, Wales, and Scotland have taken up the image or the idea of the ancient Druid in different ways in their literature, in their poetry, in their formation of secret societies and orders throughout history. So it does get into some of the ancient sources about Druids, like the writings of Julius Caesar, for example, include references to Druids, but there really isn't that much in terms of ancient sources, and the sources that we have are questionable for all kinds of reasons, right? Like why would we take Julius Caesar's descriptions of Druids at face value given his political intentions towards those territories, right? So it's really not about ancient Druids, the book, fundamentally. It's about the Druid revival. And, I'm a member of a Druid revival-inspired Druidry order that makes no claims to being descended from or otherwise representing ancient Druids. So I found this really, really interesting. I liked learning about Iolo Morgaunig more. I really liked this. It's well organized. It's a good academic text. It is an academic text Some readers will find this dry if reading academic history is not your thing. I would not suggest this, but if it is and you're interested in druids, then I would definitely recommend it. I really enjoyed it. Last but absolutely not least this month, I read Dancing on Our Turtle's Back, Stories of Anishinaabeg Recreation, Resurgence, and a New Emergence by Leanne Batasamossak Simpson. This is a decolonial work of theorizing. Leanne Batasamossak Simpson is a Anishinaabe from the territories that I'm a guest on, that I live on. And the book discusses different Anishinaabe stories and life ways and concepts and language, and is just really excellent. And she's making a case for cultural and linguistic and political resurgence grounded in Anishinaabe lifeways. She writes on page 17, "We need to be able to articulate in a clear manner our visions for the future, for living as Indigenous peoples in contemporary times. To do so, we need to engage in Indigenous processes, since according to our traditions, the processes of engagement highly influence the outcome of the engagement itself. We need to do this on our own terms, without the sanction, permission, or engagement of the state, Western theory, or the opinions of Canadians." This is a book that is very much written for a Anishinaabe and Indigenous audience. I'm not the intended audience of this work. I really appreciated the opportunity to read it and would recommend it to others. I've read Leanne Batasamossak Simpson before. I would read anything that she has written. I'm really glad to recommend this. Okay. That's all the books. From there, I will just share my check-in with my tarot/oracle deck wish list to explore list of things that I'm considering. I don't know that this has changed a ton. I keep it in my planner. I don't know that this has changed a ton since the last time I gave an update. But most of the things on the list are actually forthcoming and not yet available. So the things on the list that are forthcoming, not yet available, that I have written down that I am interested in taking a very good look at when they become available and suspect that I might be interested in adding to my collection are the Aquarius Rising Oracle, playing card-based oracle being created by Charlie Claire Burgess, who of course created the Fifth Spirit Tarot and the Gay Marseille. I have no idea if there's any kind of projected timeline on this, but there's some images on their website and I'm really into them, so definitely looking to find out more about that. The Endless Tarot by Eric, who created the Endless Oracle. The Endless Oracle is one of my favorite oracles to have come out in the last number of years. I think it's really, really well done. And so on that basis, I'm intrigued to see what he does with an Endless Tarot. No idea whether it will end up being something that I want to pick up, but based on the strength of the oracle, I'd be very keen to see what that looks like. Also not yet available, My Friend Fire Oracle by Mari in the Sky. I'm very interested to see that one when it comes available. And it was recently shared, I now cannot remember whose video it was that I learned this on, but that John Rice, who did the Mindscapes Tarot, which is a major arcana only deck, is doing a full 78 card deck of Mindscapes Tarot. That I would be interested to see because I really like the majors only deck. Will I feel like I need to add the full deck to my collection? Not sure, but I really like his paintings a lot and I really like and use the major arcana deck, so I'd be keen to see that. the Lineages of Change tarot. This is a Octavia Butler inspired tarot deck. It funded on Kickstarter. I only didn't back it on Kickstarter because I know that with it being something that is being done by a publisher that I have purchased numerous things from before, I know that my local bookstore will be able to get this, and that it would make more sense for me to go in that direction than to do the international shipping involved in backing the Kickstarter. So that one is a definitely want to add to my collection deck. It's just not available yet. I understand it to be printing in November. It's one that I'm really looking forward to, but it's just going to be a wait until I can actually get it here. So that one is on the list. The Itinéraire Fantôme Oracle, which is a collaborative oracle inspired by the work of Hélène Cixous with many artists involved. This one is on my wish list. This one is pricey, but it is one that I'm quite interested in. I'm very interested. That one is currently available. And the other currently available decks I'm interested in, I'm not sure. I really want to get Auntie Kay's Back Pocket Oracle, which is the playing card based oracle. I am not sure if she has put it up. It will be a print on demand deck. I'm not sure if it's still being edited or if it's up, but that one is solidly on my wish list, the Back Pocket Oracle. And also the Blue Earth Tarot. The Blue Earth Tarot has been on my wish list previously, and I took it off my wish list. And then I watched a video about the creation process of making the Blue Earth Tarot using cyanotype, and now it's back on my wish list again because I just think it's so fucking cool. I am really drawn lately to art that is very by hand feeling, and I love the color palette of this deck. It feels wintry. Not a lot of decks in my collection feel wintry, but this does. It's of course it's blues, and there's a bit of silver metallic on the back. This looks like a really beautiful deck. So that's my entire list. And again, over half the list is not currently available, but those are the things that I'm looking at. I feel really good about my tarot collection right now. I have some things in a to rehome basket that I feel precisely zero urgency around. But I feel like I have a good, assortment of decks in my collection that I am looking forward to doing deep dives with. I have, decks in my collection that I'm interested in every season. I have been getting out some different autumnal decks lately, and I feel like I have a nice little assortment there. I'm not super keen to be shopping too much right now. Like, I feel really good about the decks that I have, but there's always, I'm always looking at different things, and so in terms of things that I maybe anticipate getting in the near future, I would say Lineages of Change Tarot for sure, the Back Pocket Oracle for sure. The Blue Earth Tarot is a solid maybe. We'll see. That's where I'm at. That's what's intriguing me right now. Tell me what's intriguing you in the tarot and oracle sphere these days. Now, the last thing I thought I'd share would be some forthcoming ideas for YouTube content. I mentioned at the beginning that I've been feeling a little bit uninspired lately in terms of content creation. I feel more right now interested in practicing tarot and practicing druidry and reading lots of books and doing all of the things. And I feel much more into doing all of those things than I do actually setting up the camera and talking about the things. And I think there's a lot of things that are playing into that. But for the time being, I don't see myself going anywhere. And so I have, of course, been thinking about what I would like to film and whether there are things that might get some of my inspiration back. I am thinking that I would like to make a video about my time with intentionality as a word of the year for 2024. It has been a fruitful one to explore and to think about and to learn from. So I have some thoughts there. Of course, I will share my 2025 planner setup. I got all my planner books and I opted against, like, I didn't want to do a haul or anything like that because sharing a bunch of empty, unfilled planners, I mean, I could just tell you that I have a Hobonichi cousin for a kind of journal. I have the same, the Kinbor Weeks again for my planner, and then I got the Honeycomb again for astrology study. You can look them all up if you're that curious, if you haven't seen them before, but I'm sure you have. But I want to share them when I'm, all set up. I think I will share a peek at my ebook folder of Joy/Shame, all of the unread ebooks that I have on my e-reader at the moment. There are quite a few dozens in fact. I'm not going to commit myself to anything in 2025 again where I say I'm not going to buy any books or get any new books until I read the ones I have. I'm not doing that. But I do want to make some sort of plan around reading these books on my e-reader that have been accumulating. Some of them are arcs from NetGalley. Some of them are ebooks that I've bought. There's a couple that I backed on Kickstarter even. I've been into Kickstarter for things other than decks, more so than for decks lately. So there's a couple of books that are from Kickstarter there. There's a couple that are purchased and there's a couple that are arcs. And I keep saying a couple, like there's only like a dozen and there's like over 70. So they've been amassing. Anyway, I would like to share those. I have a book review coming up, but I need to finish the book first. A tarot book. And I have a handful of other tarot books on my shelf, so I envision some book reviews for sure. I have a few deck deep dives in the works that I've filmed kind of snippets of and clips for, but are not done yet. One for Wildwood, one for Great Lakes Tarot. And I may make a video about the decks in my collection that I want to do deep dive with and why. I'm not sure. Might do something like that. And certainly I'll keep up with the end of month recaps at least till the end of this year. New Year feels like a time to revisit all of these things. And TBRs and things like that will keep happening too. I'm wondering if it's time for another Q&A. I'm thinking about ways to make more Druidry content. Lots of things are floating around in my mind anyway, so we'll see what happens. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you're doing well, and I will see you again soon.